So, thank you to those who have contributed to the Toolbox Initiative. It lets us do what we do.
Should we talk about the tools a little bit? Because
Sure.
we were, as much as we talk about the switch we're doing, with your move of workshop and stuff, there is a lot of tools. I mean, everybody's been very generous with tools, and we get a lot of tools, but we realize that it's very expensive to bring them here. And so now we're becoming also a little bit more selective with tools.
I agree, and I think, glad you brought that up. There are many ways our cultures are different, and one of them is in the West, we are tool junkies. We proudly say, I can't go to a hardware store and come out empty-handed, right? Or I can't go to the supplier's catalog and I think I'm going to get one thing, and before I know it, I've ordered 10 things. That's who we are. That's what we do. The culture here is extremely mobile. People pick up and move. They might go somewhere for a month. They'll just pick up their studio and they'll go and visit a friend, and they'll stay for a month or 2 months or 3 months. So it's. I remember when we first met, and you were saying people have a toolbox and that's it.
Yeah.
Scale, well, right? I have a toolbox, but I have a room full of tools, and it's true. They have a toolbox. They have a classic example. They have a hammer, or maybe two hammers, a large and a small, with obviously a wooden handle. Like, well, they use that handle for a mallet. They don't need a mallet. They've got a stick of wood, which is the handle of their hammer. That's all they use for a mallet. So when we come along and say, we've got 10 hammers and 3 mallets for you, it's like, thanks, but I'm really kind of all set. So they really want a good hammer and a good mandrel, and they have a high quality of the 6 or 10 objects that they travel with.
Yeah.
So good for them. I'm trying to get way more in my life, to tell you the truth.
And so what they really need, I think, what we've seen is good files. Because here it's easy to get files. They cost very little. They're very cheap files. They work. They last a day or two.
Yeah.
And so a good file, and usually new is much better. It will, for the weight, I think it's always better. Needle files, fantastic. It's really, there's a big need in needle file. We were talking to Mohammed, and he said there is no needle file in Niger. So now he's going to bring some draw plate. They're handmade draw plates, very hard to work with. So draw plates, needle files, pair of pliers, vice grips. Those are the really things that are needed here, most of it.
We had not once, twice, but at least 4 times in the last week that we have visited friends that we've met in previous times, and they have mentioned or showed us their tools. One guy, Muhammad, Musa, I was saying, so some of these tools, looking around him, some of these tools were things that we gave you on our very first visit. And he looked around and he said, all of them. And they're in perfect shape, they're in great condition.
Of course, except the anvil and the hammers.
Right. Those are Tuareg. But the tools that we give, just over and over, a person reaches up, takes off the shelf, and still in its container is a draw plate. The guy we visited yesterday. So these tools are, they have such an impact. It's really hard to imagine. So again, thank you. And as you mentioned, Matthieu, we're turning a page to where we're saying we'll certainly continue to accept tools, but we will be more selective. And we've realized what we need: draw plates, flat files, half-round files, needle files, a handful of other objects. So we're actually creating a wholesale account with some suppliers and saying, so we know what we need. We can make your dollars go further by buying in quantity.
And rolling mills.
Yeah.
It's a big tool, but Pepe Tool give us rolling mills to bring. Durston give us a rolling mill that is going next in a month to Niger. Of course it's a big tool, but what I mean by that is a little donation of money go a long way, because 20 people will give something, we can get draw plates, we can get rolling mill, and we can move on, we can get new files. So, as much as we ask for tools, money is also fantastic to be able to buy the new stuff we need to bring.
Yeah. Also, I'll point out, we talk about this person or that person. almost never do we see a workshop with one person in it. They're almost always shared, 2, 3, 4 people in a workshop. And even if they're not there all the time, they're passing through all the time. So when we say we give this person a draw plate, that draw plate is being used by maybe a dozen people.
Oh yeah, and somebody even from the village, a few kilometers away, will come and borrow it for the day.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And we always make that point. It's not like, I mean, that's their culture, so it's not like those strings attached.
Yeah.
But we just make a point of saying, this is great, that we can give it to you so you can spread it. And of course, that's the way they would do automatically.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.